Hello all, this is Captain JJ here. We're welcoming you back to more Gran Turismo 7. If you are new to the channel, please don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell to be notified of all my YouTube doings. Now, this is last week's Daily Race C at the Red Bull Ring, where we are choosing to go threes. I've decided to go for the Nissan GTR 2018 car for this video, as it was the best car so far, and decided just not to go and mess about with things I wasn't comfortable with. So we've just got past this first driver. This is also the first race I did on that daily race. So I started at the back as per usual, so I don't do any qualifying times, and immediately I got upended by Verstappen, who I do have a few issues with, stemming from the fact that I had an incident with him at the Nation Series last time. I tried to go squeeze through the middle, have to back out of it against John SR and Mark, and then I got clobbered from the right hand side, and somehow or another that actually helped me to get ahead of John, and that puts me in front of Mark. And now we're going to see if I can just nip it up the inside of Mark. Looking back at this was a little bit of a half-hearted attempt, but I did make it work, and I move up. Now I'm going to have to try up and go against the Genesis of Verstappen. So let's have a little look back at this. The Genesis Verstappen actually outbrakes himself, and then forced me to go wide. What also happened was that two drivers also spun off and around in front of me, so that's what happened there. Go three wide here, realizing that was a bit ugly, so I have to back out. What I didn't see was that Stefan X got out of control on the inside while trying to overtake me, and that's what happened there. We are now going to Stefan X's point of view. It turned out I tried to go three wide, did exactly what I did, but touched the grass on the way in, and that what spun me into him. That's unfortunate, but it happens, so he dropped back. So now we're going to go further back into the race onto the second lap. We've now called back up to Verstappen in the Genesis. Now he's going to be quite defensive here. He was defensive at Spa, so I've descended the dummy up the inside. A little bit of a controversial one. A bit of contact made, and then I set my line, and there we go. He is on his way backwards through the field. So his perspective, he's defending in the middle of the line. I decided to fool him on the inside, give him a bit of a love tap as it's known, and then I lose the veer ever so slightly, and that caused him to go flying. And then we look for the TV shot. Go through here, make it up the inside. You look from that perspective, and that wasn't a normal turn point for TGX, but that's another point gone. See you later. And he's back down to 11th. We now jump back into the race. We see Reg in front of us now. And there's going to be a bit of chaos happening on my right as it was ground pop, both just making a small error and losing the position. Go further around the lap as I carry on with Reg. I take it a little bit too wide in that section, and the Gran Turismo 7 penalty system is dishing me out a half-second time penalty. I look back at this, and that's fair. Now, let's put me in a bit of a desperate situation here to go on to the next lap. I try the inside of Reg, and I completely mess it up and take a predictable route around the outside. And as a net result of all that, I can't catch up, and I get a half-second time penalty, which I have to serve on this lap, and drop 2 more positions. Annoyingly, the 2 positions which I gained on the opening lap. What you didn't see there was Reg is having a struggle. John makes an error, and I managed to shoot my way up the inside to get myself regain 7th place. Now let's just see Mark and Reg just ahead of me there, the Spanish driver, and the Englishman. Into that right-hander. Reg is still holding on to the position. I'm just still holding on to 7th, which I successfully do. We move to the end of the lap now. Hazards on, telling John ahead that my intentions are to pit, which I do. So do Mark and Reg. We're all started on the medium tyre, as we've seen, and now we're going for the soft tyre to the end of the race. The strategy here was medium 5, soft 8. So we go back out the pit lane. We drop down to 13th. Okay, not too bad, but we still got ground to make up. So we got Mark now trying to have a look at the inside of Reg, but Reg overcooks it slightly, and then overcooks it again on the outside. Debatable whether Mark touched him or not. Whatever the case is, Reg is spinning. We're now moving on 3 more laps now. We've now caught up to the back of Mark. Now I'm trying to set him up here because I feel like I'm quicker than him at this stage, despite Mark setting the fastest lap, as you notice on the timing tower on the left. So I'm going to go for it here. Going into turn number 3, I have a sense of an opportunity. Feel like I can make the move, trying to make the move. Unfortunately here, I messed up a little bit. I go a little bit too deep, and that's going to allow Mark to get back past me, and we're going to have to do the whole entire thing again. So, more work to be done. Leader pits in at the end of lap 8, going for 5 laps on the medium. So we move further on, a couple of laps now. As you can tell, lap times are not particularly quick. Oh, and there's Mark hitting the back of the Swiss in the Toyota, in the Supra. Mark gets 2 seconds, and Marquez is going to get a half-second time penalty. There we go, for running off track. But he was forced off track, so I'm kind of surprised how he got that. Never mind. I'm up the inside now with the turn 2, trying to make sure I don't run into the back of Mark. But I'm enough up the inside of the Swiss, and that's 7th place for me. Now we go to go a little bit more further on down the lap, as Mark serves his 2-second time penalty, and that's me up to 6th. We see the next 2 in front, but I've only got 2 laps to go. It's going to be debated whether I catch them. We fast forward to the last lap now, where yes, I have caught up the back of him, but unfortunately I'm going to run out of corners and I'm going to run out of laps. Perhaps to make any further progress. So, 6th from the first race. Good effort. I've almost got 5th there when Esteban, the Spanish driver, almost lost it, but I still hold on to 6th. Good result considering I started from the back of the grid and also had a few moments thereabouts. Sometimes it does happen. There you go. It's a thing. And that's another position. Now we've moved on to our second race. This time starting even further back. This time we're starting at 15th out of 16th on the grid. Stamanis also starting, the French driver also starting at the back as well. Both of us are doing back from the grid challenges, which is a kind of tradition here. Seeing a lot of action in front. Somebody's gone wide in front. It's Reggie's gone wide. As I now try and figure out exactly what's the best position to put myself in. We've also got TGX Verstappen in this room as well. Same driver who we've had issues with, as I previously mentioned earlier. Mark's going inside of Reg. Can't get up the inside of Verstappen, so has to hold back. There's drama ahead. I almost run into the back of Reg, but the Beetle is going for a spin. But this is not the ugly bug board now, surely. Reg gets a half-second time penalty for running wide. And our second corner, track limits are pretty strict as usual, so I have to nip it up the inside going into turn 3. I get the move done comfortably, and that's me up to 13th. So that's a good start for me so far considering the delay. So now we move to the end of the lap, and we see action right in front of us. It's like 5 drivers fighting from 8th down to 12th. Someone's got a 1.5 second time penalty. That's a half-second penalty even. That's the Persia for running wide. The Italian and the Toyota also runs wide. There's carnage all around. I'm trying to nip it up. Verstappen's trying to do exactly the same thing. Doesn't find it though. And I'm going to try and put myself in the position to get the inside line for the next quarter. We've got this Italian. Whoop. Completely overcooking it. I'm up the inside of the Peugeot, so that's 3 positions up there now. So back behind Mark. And now we're going to try and make our way through. We're on the medium tyre, so we're on the slower tyre initially for this first part. And then coming up to turn 3, we've got someone who can't settle the differences and just tries to bulldoze their way through on me. Hits Mark in the process and then gets delayed. So for all that, I actually managed to prepare myself and get myself a good position. So now we're going on to the onto the camera shot where it all began, the first corner. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell if you're enjoying the content. So it's like 2 sets of 2 going wide. I'm trying to look for the inside line here. And Stitos is trying to go for the inside, but then realising backing out of it and then overshooting the braking point, which is why they are ending up almost into the mountains. So up to 10th. The Spanish Peugeot has also got a time penalty, as we mentioned, for running wide. Verstappen is on the inside of there, and then misjudging the braking point, clips me on the way. Getting it completely wrong, also hit Mark in front of me, so that gives me position. And then there's somebody else, I think it was the French GTR, getting caught up in the mayhem, and that's the position gone for them. We now move on to the end of the lap, where we see more issues. No, it's actually Grandpa spinning off. That's another position, up to 8th now. Now coming up in Scov GT, who I recognised from previously. And so now we are going through again. Up through here. And that is the French driver going off as well. Not a good moment there. So we're going through this again. And then we see the Spanish driver also got a 1.5 second time penalty as well, so that's the end of that. There was a small cut in the editing, as I noticed there was an error. So now we're going to move on to the Scoff position. Looking at that incident between the robot Son and the Bale. Spaniard is defending, and then Scoff is trying to go at the inside of 3 wide. It's just not going to work. Yes, he gets the move, but he's also not the Frenchman off in the process. So we're now looking from the French perspective. Robot Soul has had a slow exit. Bale is trying to look around the outside, but you're always going to have a risk of going to go off, and there you go. See you later. You're in the gravel trap, you're in the grass, and you've lost the position to me, and I'm going to gain the position as well later on. So we move on to the 4th lap now, where it's called Scov, who I know I'm quicker with, but they know how to defend. Whoops, a little bit of a rear end, and unfortunately goes straight to the inside line, meaning I can't do much with this, so I'm going to have to go around the outside and try my luck there. Unfortunately, it's not going to work out here, as TCR Scov is holding the inside line. I try to switch back, but I haven't got enough of a momentum, so I'm not going to get the move done. So what I do instead is pit in at the end of this lap instead of lap 5 to try the undercut, almost clipping the white line on the way in. And if you cross the white line on the entrance or the exit of the pit lane, you will get a 3-second time penalty. So it just goes back onto the soft tyre. I will see Mark behind me, who's done exactly the same strategy, along with Bale, who got caught up in that incident. So we've all gone the same route in terms of tyre strategy. But what I didn't realise until we get around later on around the lap, it was noted on the live stream while I was doing it that Mark crossed that exit white line, either on the entrance or the exit, and got a 3-second time penalty. So I've got no pressure from behind. I can now focus on getting the job done in front of me. So we're just going to complete the lap. We see Scarcozy and Red putting in, also going onto the soft tyre. German's also in, Scov's also in. Just take a look on the right. Let's see if I manage it. Get into 3rd gear. Okay, so I haven't leapfrogged the German, but I have more importantly leapfrogged Scov. So that's a position gain. We now jump on a little bit further on to another 7th lap with Flares trying the defensive move. Unfortunately, doing it late into the corner, which is going to compromise their exit out of the 2nd corner and all the way down to the 3rd corner, which we are approaching right now. Immediately goes defensive, and then goes back to the racing line, which enables me to nip it up the inside. And that's 4th, it's 5th position. Also, I need to hold the line, almost losing the rear end while trying to do so. What I'm doing here is keeping it in the middle, making sure that Flair has to go the long way round, and then keeping it slow, and then flooring it out of the corner to make sure he doesn't get the overlap. We now move on to the next lap, where I messed up a bit. I messed the inside line up for the on the 1st corner, which is now going to allow Flays to try and catch back up to me. The 3 drivers in front are all different strategies. They've probably all gone for the medium, soft and medium. Now Flares is on the outside line, but that's not the place you want to be. And I'm able to get the move done. I'm able to hold on to the position, but it's not over yet. Still got another fast section which I need to defend from, which I should be able to do so here. So I stick more to the middle of the track, giving Flares enough room to go for the racing line, and I'm still able to hold on to the position. So we fast forward again to lap 11. I actually managed a couple of decent laps once I was able to get the rhythm down, to see Jaeger, who's having a wild moment across the curbing again. And now we're just seeing what is going to happen here. But also Flares has got a better line once more, so once more I have to go on defensive. I've brake a little bit earlier to make sure I can get the corner, to get the car stopped for the corner. Done that. 4th place is still being held on. We're trying to fight back. Good racing between us two. I'm also on lap older tyres, so my tyres will be a little bit more on the suspect side going into the latter stages of this race. And now we move on to the next lap. What I didn't see was that the Dutch had a time penalty, so I'm just able to squeeze through. Flays is unable to do so, so that's third place for me. Just keeping it nice and tight. All I need to do now is keep it clean on this final lap, despite the tyres being past their best. And so we now move on to the final lap now. Same section of corners, keep it good, keep it tight. Those two in front, well, at the front of the field anyway, so it doesn't matter. That's third place for me in another back of the grid challenge on the Group 3s with the GTR. Now the videos will be returning, but they won't be as daily as they were previously due to time commitments, so they will be done every 2 to 3 days rather than every day. So that's the plan now. Still carrying on with the Gran Turismo 7 stuff. I've got GTWS coming along as well. If you have enjoyed the video, please do leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section below. Share the video out, do what you need to do. I'm continuing with GTWS. That will be my next video. I've got rounds 1 and 2 coming up, so I would love you to join in for that. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next video. Goodbye for now.